This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Shaun Cole, and welcome to today's edition of the Pit Stop, where you, the pit crew, you are the real star of today's show. Happy Monday to everybody. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I sure did. I did so many things this weekend. I had such a great weekend. I got to do a lot of personal things just for the fun and hanging out with friends. Got to do a lot of family things, hanging out with family. Got to do a lot of sim racing things and do some driving as well. And then on top of that, I even got some time to put in some work on the studio, doing some lighting, color changes, things like that. So anyway, it was a wonderful weekend for me, and I hope the same for all of you out there. And again, happy Monday to you, and thank you for being here just to talk and BS about sim racing. I do love sim racing, and I love that we have such a great community that's always pulling together in so many different ways, hanging out, having fun, and enjoying our favorite hobby, sport, common interest. So what is going on in the world of sim racing today? And there's a few things worthy of talking about. Yeah, today was our daylight savings was over the weekend, so I'm not sure if everyone's going to make it today because I think the whole world's a little out of whack time-wise. Tried to put my notifications up as early as I could this morning in order to let people know, but we might have a quiet show here today. So a couple things to talk about. Number one, let's talk iRacing. In iRacing, Mode Motorsports. Mode Motorsports is actually owned by Chicago Bears offensive guard Kyle Long. And he's part of, I don't know if he owns the entire thing, but yeah, we had a great patron race. We had such a crazy great patron race on Saturday in the Radicals. That was a really fun event. I had a good time watching that, that's for sure. But anyway, Mode Motorsports is now joining the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing series, and so it's just another team. They're coming in, you know, 2 races already gone, so they're 3 races behind, but in round 3 at Fontana on March 12th, which is tomorrow, they will be there on the eSport Network, NASCAR, Facebook Live, MRN.com, and PeakAuto.com. So it is getting some good exposure out there as well. So anyway, the one thing that comes to mind when I think about this is, well, gosh, they didn't participate in the draft. Could that be a secret skill maneuver? Skip the draft and bring in your own guys? I don't know Cody Bius or Philip Diaz. I'm sure they're both great drivers. Don't know their resume, don't know where they were in last year's Antifreeze series, don't know if they were in the draft even, but one more team being added to the list in the iRacing side of things. What else? Also in iRacing, this came up, and this is going to bring a smile to my face, bring a smile to a lot of people's face, and maybe a little bit of fear to others, but iRacing and the Lucas Oil Off-Road Racing Series have formed an alliance to bring Pro 2 and Pro 4 trucks, as well as iconic tracks to the online simulator. So it sounds like a really cool full packaging license. You know, think back 5, 6, 10 years ago, a company would individually license through each track, each car manufacturer. Now it's kind of changing. Now we just go right to the top. We make a deal with Lucas, and with that, Lucas brings us the teams, the liveries, and a lot of the tracks in some cases as well. Now, what should we fear? Well, you should always be fearful of anything in the dirt, because contact will be part of the game. I mean, if you watch stadium trucks, if you watch Pro 2, Pro 4 trucks, contact is the norm. And so when we, who are all very touchy about contact in sim racing, boy, people get some ruffled feathers over contact. But, you know, the argument can be made, where is the line drawn? Especially when you have disciplines like rallycross and off-road racing, where contact really is a part of it. You know, we play Wreckfest, obviously by the name of that game alone, we are hitting and wrecking each other. But the minute you get on dirt, contact, I mean, you don't want to see contact in sprint cars, but for the most part in rallycross, I see fenders coming off every single time, and the same thing goes for the truck racing. So it will be exciting, it will be fun. I will definitely be doing some of that. We will definitely be bringing that to the patron races if that's the other question. In the case of the rallycross, a couple of the tracks and one of the cars were free right out of the gates for everybody to be able to participate. Are they going to do the same thing here, or is this going to all be paid for content? Stadium trucks is what brought you back to iRacing. Awesome. Well, it's still going to be a little while. We talked about like the minus VR in the ACC. If you didn't catch that on Wednesday, I think we talked about it. Might have mentioned again on Friday, but if you're in an Oculus Rift using VR with the Assetto Corsa Competizione and having mediocre luck, One of the things you can try is instead of launching it through the Steam app, put -VR in the launch commands and launch it normally. But in addition to that, there was a hotfix that I don't think we even mentioned, but this is 0.6.2, and there is a changelog here that I have up on the screen. I'm not scrolling so you guys can read it if you want. You can pause the screen later and get all the details. But lots of enhancements, lots of fixes, and lots of things as we await what is really just the final release and then the future of Assetto Corsa Competizione. So the future to be determined beyond the promises made way back when, and we are getting down to that point. What else? The Fanatec Sebring 12-hour, I guess 3 days left in qualifying in the 12-hour with over 10,000 in prizes. Times are close. Make sure you get involved. So they have some images up of qualifying. Let's see. This is the standings for the LMP2 qualifier with Kevin Ryan leading the way. This is the lap times for the GT3 qualifier. I'm not sure which is which here. Risto Capit. Hey, Risto. And then we've got Erhan Jajowski in the GTE qualifier, the 3 images they put up. So 3 days left in that as that big event, 10,000 in prizes coming to the winners there, or to the group of winners, I should say. That would be insane. 0.63 hotfix now. Thank you very much. There's even one later, apparently. Let's see, Big Mike in the house. Yes, he is. Big Mike, how's it going? Dirt online, dirt. I'm thinking tonight for Monday Fun Day, we might have to do another dirt rally. I'm gonna have to talk with the patron group and figure out what we're gonna do for fun tonight, Monday Fun Day. All right, what else? F1 2018 posted a video here, so if you want a challenge, you want a good challenge for yourself, we'll take on Alvaro Kerton, and this is one of the eSport drivers for Williams, the Williams eSport driver, Alvaro Kerton. Laying down the gauntlet. Can you beat his time around Circuit Paul Ricard in the F1 2018 time trial mode? And there's a video here of his efforts. And you can take on a real eSport. Take on a real eSport driver and see. You can see exactly how he's doing it. Can you compete? I like that kind of challenge. Find out exactly how you do against him. You have to, and JC Motorsports with a great compliment that says, I'm very good at my job. Thank you very much, JC. I appreciate that a ton. I try very hard, and I really enjoy what I do. It's a balancing act, trying to figure out how much to bring to you guys, how much to talk about, how much to focus on, and how much to interact with you guys and delay the show even in some cases, which we love doing. Race Room. Talking about, what was Race Room? Oh, they've got their big competition now. So the ADAC, round 3 of the ADAC ADAC GT Masters eSport Championship from Red Bull Ring happened yesterday. So I'm not going to play spoiler because it's a video you can go watch. So if you're at work and you just want some sim racing entertainment, you can fire that up and see the outcome of the race stream. And I can tell you, things didn't play out how you would think. It was a slightly different winner than what we've seen. Forza doing their weekly update, so we expect this every Monday. This one, love the picture of the Ferrari up top. We've talked about that car here. Talking about their streams, talking about things going on in the sim, and their whole broadcast schedule as well. I have another Forza story. Have it later in my scroll. I should have put it right here with this one to keep them both together. Gran Turismo, also, they're talking about, and this is coming up again. When is this? On the 14th, I believe it is. March 14th, the best of the best are on track together once again. Can anyone beat, or, well, they put best, Igor Fraga? We know he kicks ass. Don't forget the always dramatic Repage race either. I don't remember the Repage race. Find out live from Paris at the Nations Cup final. So that is coming up. Let's confirm that date. Can I confirm that date for you? I believe it's the 14th. I'm going a little bit by memory, and I thought I had it on my thing. March 16th at 10 a.m. There we go. Sorry. March 16th, 10 a.m. We will see the Invitational. It truly is an Invitational. This was a secret list put together, and of course, Igor Fraga, the defending champion. Keep talking about Live for Speed and the endless amounts of small updates, but no big, huge announcement that we're back. But I think it's safe to say they're back. I have a note around here reminding me to download LFS and give it a shot again. But they talked about the VR updates. I think that was on Friday, maybe. VR updates for Pimax and Odyssey. lock view to horizon, filtered views. The servers recover more quickly after lag, and improvements to the AI. Also, LF hosters with busy servers, please try the T4D Con if possible. We want to release the full version next week. So it looks like they're working on some of their server hosting options or the way that all plays out. And it'd be good to have some testing under heavy load. It should run smoother. I think it's safe. So more coming from Live for Speed just about weekly at this point, which is really awesome. Really, really awesome. What else? What else? Just checking in with what you guys are talking about. NASCAR Heat, the draft actually happened. So this is the Xbox One draft with Ganassi Racing taking Gregory Matarazzo. Second pick was Nicholas Roman, and Tyler Dohar was the third pick in the Xbox draft. They show us the top 14. Then we also have the PS4 draft with Wood Brothers taking Slade Gravitt, William Arnold going second, and Joey Stone going third. And I have to admit, I don't know or recognize any of these names. When I looked at both lists, I'm like, well, I have not seen any, like, sim racing ringers. Any of these names strike you guys? Any familiarity with any of these guys as former DWC drivers or anything along that line? That was one thing we speculated. You look at F1 2018, and last year's competition was really a bunch of gamers minus some, I mean, very talented. I mean, Brendan kicked ass and went on to defend his championship, so say what you will. But what we also saw was the invasion of the PC gamers into the F1 2018 competition in year 2. I mean, you saw all the who's who show up for that and go through that draft. In the case here, we do not see that same transfer of drivers. And I just wonder, is it the game? Is it the sim? Is it the competition? Who knows? Lots of articles. So, again, I can bring up 30 articles talking about the draft. So, just the amount of attention it is getting. Here it is at Yahoo Sports. Here it is at Speedway Digest. Here it is at, these are all talking about NASCAR Heat, the actual draft that went on. Sent me links on Discord for the Virtual Endurance Championship. Okay, I'll see if I can grab that. It's hard for me to grab those once I'm live. If you ever have anything and you need it to get on the show, it's best to send it to me well before the show so I can get it in my lineup. I have a lot of windows, and I can only screw up the stream when I start jumping around extras. But I'll see if I can do something about that, Roland. But anyway, NASCAR Heat 3 NASCAR draft was big news, and it was all over the place, including a video on Facebook. I think you'll find this out other places as well. Oh, it's not coming up. There we go. Anyway, but they go on to show you how the whole draft played out. And again, remember, this was done live at the track. Scott Cole, no relation to me, by the way. So boom. Anyway, you can see the packed house, and there's Matarazzo getting his team jersey. So again, this was done in a much larger manner than the iRacing version of it. Fanatec talking about that new wheel. They talked about finally shipping them out, and they are sold out. So the Formula V2. And anyway, they are shipping them out. I think people have already got them, but they sold out, and they are talking about a new batch that will ship in April, I guess is what they're talking about. So they're warning you, if that's a wheel you want and you missed out, there might be a window to get on batch 2. What else? GT Planet talking about the first WRC 8. So this is the newest version of WRC 8. Live stream happening March 14th. That's where I got that date, March 14th. Anyway, if you want to see the latest, greatest in the WRC series, they are going to be doing that, and you will be able to find that. Do I have a link to where it is? No, I do not. But you'll be able to find that through Clayton. That's the manufacturer, or just do a search for WRC 8. But put it in your calendar. March 14th will be the debut of a developers host live stream showing off the game. That could be kind of cool. Excuse me. Click clack. All right. I'm debating how I want to handle this topic here. So Austin Ogonowski, formerly of Pretend Race Cars was his site before he took employment with, I believe, Project Cars. Everything I'm saying now, don't quote me on, but I'm pretty sure. Anyway, you know, I've never said anything that bad about Austin Ogonowski. I have called him a pessimist. I've called him a cynic. I've called him the half is three-quarter empty kind of person. But I also give him credit for being smart and having valid opinions on things. But I just don't understand why his... Well, I guess it's clickbait. I don't know. Anyway, I'm a little biased because I've actually heard of quite a bit of smack talking in my direction from that individual. That's all hearsay, so don't quote me on that either. But I've had quoted things put in my face, and I guess during this video at the 23-second mark, there's a clip of me as he says the word old men. Anyway, his whole point here in this, whatever you want to call it, 12-minute rant, nobody's watching, nobody cares, the death of sim racing esports. And he goes on to talk about, and again, he has some valid arguments. So, for example, he talks about like some of the viewership on some of the biggest esport being very small. I mean, honestly, you could look at some of the DWC championship races. They'd have fewer viewers than your average Jimmy Broadbent stream. Now, I could sit here and say, well, I don't understand that, to be honest with you. I really don't. I don't understand why more people would watch Jimmy Broadbent than the best of the best in sim racing. And I have to confess that I don't sit around and watch a lot of sim racing races myself, but I do foresee as the money gets better and perhaps as some of the officiating making the competitions gets better, that I would see myself working in that direction. So anyway, I am not going to turn this into a rant of any kind, but if you want to hear valid arguments for esport, sim racing esport, and will it succeed, will it fail? He talks about people cashing in on the latest, hottest thing, and if it's a failure, is it really cashing in? If they're not getting their return on their investment, that's not really cashing out on such a thing. But there is a lot of money. There's a lot going on eSport. It's something I talk about all the time. And I'm a positive person. I choose to not poo-poo where I eat. But Austin Ogonowski has his version, and I'm just going to leave it right there. I'm going to leave it to you all to have your own thoughts on such a thing. But for me, with some of the things I've heard referred to me from him, it's probably best for me not to get in on the topic, other than that I've said my opinion. You know, he's a pessimist and a cynic who chooses to attack sim racing in that direction. Attack's the wrong word. He chooses to talk about sim racing in a negative light pretty much all the time. I very rarely see or hear anything positive from him. This is my hobby. This is my favorite thing to do. And therefore, even though I have many lists of improvements that the industry could see across the board, including eSport, I always look at it from the positive, half full. So anyway, that's that. I'm just going to leave it there. I think, personally, eSport is here. It's a boom. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I don't think it's the death of sim racing eSport any more than the death of eSport across the board. I do think it's a little bit inflated. I think some of the prize money right now isn't justified by the viewership that it's getting, and that it does need to grow proportionally more than it needs to use huge enticements. I mean, you could easily talk about like the Visa Vegas race and the $1 million prize, and they were never going to repeat such a thing. Well, because they put more money than they could ever get return on their investment. And that's the critical thing about any kind of marketing, advertising, whatever. You have to get a return on investment that made it a worthy thing. But anyway, that's that. You guys can check out the thing. It's certainly worth the listen. Just be warned, it's a negative attitude on how things in sim racing are. Another article on a more positive note, Turn 10, shifting work on the next Forza Motorsport. So we already talked, and Dan Grenewalt has confirmed such things. There is not going to be a Forza Motorsport 8 this year. And when you look at the previous 7 versions, 7 versions going back exactly 14 years because they've always been on a 2-year release cycle. Well, apparently Forza 8 isn't going to be this year. We've already talked about that, but they did have an interview with Dan Grenowald where he talked just a bit. This was on their monthly podcast yesterday, where they talked about the future of Forza Motorsport and how they are actually looking to the community. They are doing something completely different. They're blowing it up from the inside out, and there is going to supposedly be some huge, significant changes to Forza Motorsport and what it's going to be and what it's going to all be about. Without us old guys, there would be no young guys. Hey, someone's got to show them the ropes. They're the ones with the talent, but we're the ones with the wisdom, right? Anyway, so that's good news for the future. And I, you know, are we in need of a Forza 8 just yet? Not sure. So maybe it's the best thing that they are kind of slowing things down a little bit and changing it. You know, we all need to modernize. No matter what we're doing, we need to modernize and stay with the times. We could talk about old man, right? Old men, old guys, old sims, old tech. You gotta stay with what's current. And so maybe that's what Forza's doing. They're taking a step back and looking to the future rather than regurgitating the old. You scroll my screen. Oh, you want to read the article more? I totally could see that, Jesse. That's funny. That's very funny. V-Rally had another DLC that hit the store with the Chevy Camaro ZL1 rally car. I just wanted to let you know about that. It's also part of the season pass. My thumbnail today. Look at that. I was smart enough to mute my phone. You didn't hear it, did you? Isn't that beautiful? Nobody likes that guy. Everybody loves you. Don't bother giving him attention. Alex, no. I agree. I mean, I love that statement. No, but it came up on my radar today. It was talked about by a lot of people, so I figured it's valid news. But I don't understand the need to always be pessimistic. And again, that just, to me, like, there's nothing positive about being negative. Wow. Quote me on that. Write that down. There's nothing positive about being negative. And that doesn't mean that I don't have a cons list for everything that I review. That doesn't mean that I don't have a strong opinion on the failures of every sim out there in some way, shape, or form. But again, we're all working in the same direction. We're all working in the right direction. And don't be a fly in the ointment. Don't be the stiff link in the chain. I mean, come on. We are trying to make it better, not trying to discourage people from moving forward. I think that's my real point. That is, you know, we're all trying to make it better, not trying to discourage it and ruin it so that nobody, by all means, let's write articles like that so that the eSport world calls it quits and throws in the towel too early. What's the point in that? Do we all want to just go home? Would you rather be a flight simmer? Would you rather be playing shooters? I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Don't get me into a rant. Hey, none of that. None of that. Steam has an announcement about Diesel Brothers. I think we talked about this coming out a while ago. But anyway, we're seeing some screenshots and videos. Diesel Brothers, the truck building simulator. This is going to be available April 12th. Any of you guys watch Diesel Brothers? It was, I'm going to piss some people off now. It was Richard Rawlings and that one that I just was like, okay, you know what? I'm done with this template that they've created, because every show I watch, season 1, season 2 is cool. Season 3, the guy gets so full of himself and the show becomes about him instead of about why I tuned in, which is looking at cool cars, watching the process of building them up from scratch and all that kind of stuff, and I dig that. But when the shows started becoming about the characters, not about what they did, I couldn't watch it anymore. Diesel Brothers has maintained that, even though it's more, the characters are more defined now. I believe they're in season 3 or 4, and they're still showing you what they do, and I do like that. So, don't know if that's going to make me go buy the game. It could be fun. It could be cool. You guys have seen all the scrolling shots as I've been talking about it. Michael Clark. Yes, Michael Clark coming in with the donation. Rant time plus coffee. Well, the rant is over. but I will take a swig of coffee thanks to you, Michael. All right. What else do we have to talk about? There's more. Believe it or not, there's a few more things to talk about. Not that much. Lionheart Simpit is one of the sponsors of the Lionheart Racing Series, and I will be running in the IndyCar Series. You might have seen the All-Star race that went on last week. That was a lot of fun. But the real deal kicks off, geez, I got to get it together this week. 2/27. No, okay. I still have a little bit more time. I got one more week to get it together, I guess. No, that's the All-Star. 2/27. 3/13. Yes, this is Wednesday. Oh, Lord. First medical equipment race is at Homestead. Will be on Wednesday. Boy, I have some work to do. Luckily, it's a fixed setup, so I will be able to get things together. But I got to take it a little more seriously. I've just been behind. But their announcement was Sam Maxwell Customs joining as one of the other partners. So a good list of sponsors for their series, and you can see all the companies there: Butt Kicker, Sim Experience, Plasma Tracks, 273 Clipping, SMC, Sam Maxwell, iRacing, iFlag, Simpit, Viva Motorsport, Sim Sport News, GSRC, where they get broadcast, iRacing, Track Racer, and I can't read that last one, forgive me, so I don't know. But anyway, should be a great season kicking off, and this season goes all the way to the end of the year. It's a really long season, like 26 races or something. Put it in my calendar, and I was all the way out in December still adding races. So got that going on Wednesday. I'll be airing it from my side of things, and it will be on GSRC as well late Wednesday night. It's going to totally change my life. Wednesday night, I've always had other things going on, so this is going to kind of disrupt my schedule quite a bit. RaceSpot has their upcoming broadcast, so if you are just looking for, you know, somewhere to find some sim racing entertainment, you want to see some of the best, you'll find that at RaceSpot as well. Oh, can't remember why this was sent to me and I didn't read it. Forgive me. 35 excuses, what is yours? This is an article. What are the excuses that you have heard the most on the track? I still have to learn. This is kind of funny. Okay, I'm glad this... I'm sorry I didn't read it in advance, but let's see if you guys have ever been accused of seeing or saying any of these things said. Wait, have you ever been accused of saying these things or seeing any of these things, hearing any of these things said? What are the excuses that you've heard the most out on the track? I still have to learn, and this is at simracer.es, so if you want to vote, I'm just reading it because it's got to make you kind of laugh, but I still have to learn that last part of the circuit. I think I said that just yesterday practicing for Nordschleife. I forgot to turn. I am here only for the safety rating. I've heard that one, but how you end up being, yeah. Dive bombs are part of the races. How can I configure the remote? I've never heard that said. My spotter said clear. I've heard that said. Netcode error, I'm sure. Definitely heard that said. But this was not practical. Never heard that. Is this Silverstone international or national? That's pretty funny because I've never said that, but boy, I've said, is this the front stretch or is this the back stretch? Okay. What else? I want to read a few more and then we'll move along. But I was trying different paths. I had a blockage in the direction I could not dodge you. I blocked the brake. I'm not sure what that means, but that's kind of funny. I did not see my braking reference. I've said that myself. My tires were too cold. That's going to be even more so, I think, in the Skippy and the new tire model. From what I felt, love your guys' thought. Have anybody else driven the new tire model? Did I have placebo effect going on? Were my thoughts on? Love your opinions on that, and have you run it yet? What else? A couple more, and then I'll move on. I put a gear that was not... I put a gear that... the sun was shining, and I was reflecting on... I was reflecting on the screen. It was the first time I ran with that setup. I could not control the understeer. That's actually funny. That's the whole point of understeer, is that it's not to be controlled. It's what's controlling you. That's almost an oxymoron, in other words. I did not know you were in parallel. Anyway, all right, enough of that. You can read the article at simracer.es if you want a good laugh on, and please vote. interesting idea on motion. What if it was just your chair? So I've always called certain types of motion sims seat movers. All the ones where it just moves the seat and everything else stays static. Anyway, here is a desktop seat mover. So I have a hard enough time keeping my seat rolling chair next to a desk when I've done those setups. How in the heck are you going to do it when it's fighting giant actuators as well? Anyway, I thought this was from Frex, which is, they're known for their quality products, but this one I think I'm going to have to chalk up as not for me. I don't think that's going to do it. Server lag, not my fault. Absolutely. Gotta pee, can't concentrate. I think that's a good enough excuse during an endurance race. Oops, my bad. We hear that all the time. Server lag, I think, is probably one of the number one. Not me. It wasn't me. It was netcode. All right, what else? Pretty funny chair. Laughs aplenty here on the show. Simrace.blog showing off another cool rig. I don't know if I want acrylic. Acrylic is cool, but acrylic scratches really easy. Acrylic discolors over time if you let sunlight on it. But it does look kind of cool. Snazzy looking rig. Who makes this? It's an Indonesian brand. Engineering brand HM Engineering. They're calling it plastic. I'm going to call it acrylic. Acrylic sounds better to me. What else? What else? Just a few rigs to show you now. I think we're just to that point where just a few rigs. Always love seeing rigs when the pictures get sent in. Anyway, this guy's trying to figure out how to attach a THA shifter to his rig. I doubt you're watching Willingham Paul 500. Adapter plate. You just need a piece of metal that would go under the wheel. It would get sandwiched and bolted in or clamped with the wheel, and it extends out to hold that shifter. That's what I would do. Yeah, it could be brittle as well. Stress cracking. Yeah, I don't know if I would really go for one of those. What else do we have to talk about? Just another desktop rig. Where there's a will, there's a way. I say it all the time. You do not have to have a fancy setup to win races. You do not have to have a fancy setup to become an eSport pro, and right now that is still paying. So, see, Max wants to be an eSport pro. And then finally, last rig I have to show you today is this setup just upgraded to Fanatec using a play seat. Again, I love seeing these portable rigs because, again, these are the people in my mind, to an extent, almost the most dedicated. Sure, you could be dedicated, build this whole sim room and spend thousands of dollars, but the guys who are literally throwing it in a closet and pulling it out just to be able to do it, you got to applaud what they do just to race each and every race. So there he is in his play seat challenge with Fanatec gear. That's from Twin Boy 65, and apparently somebody's at my front door, but just as well, because I think I'm to the end of the show. Let me see, something was sent to me. Let's see if I can find what was sent to me very quickly. Sim Racing Club doing this live. I'm not sure if this is going to work. Can I get it? This is the VEC results. Virtual Endurance Championship. That's right. That page isn't opening for me. Or do I have to do that? That was 1,000 miles. I'm not sure if that's... When was this? I don't know when this race was. Oh, look at that. ACR Zach Speed wins. I know that's cool news for me. The 1,000 miles of Indianapolis with Jurnog Smonchik and Dennis Jordan winning the race for ACR Zach Speed. And it looks like Mitchie Hoyer and Devin Braun were down in 7th place from ACR. Team Virez in 2nd, and one Akko, almost says taco to me there. In LMP, Team RGPL and Blackhawk Racing. When did this go on? I'm not sure if I'm even talking new news. Let's see here. We got one more thing, and then we'll call it a day. Sorry to throw this at you, but this was sent in. But here we go. Zansho Sim Sport. Yesterday, they won the GTE category in the Division 1 of the VEC Championship. 12 hours of Sebring. I think that's what we were looking for, was Sebring, not Indy. Is this one we wanted? This is the one I believe, but I could be. Anyway, we're looking at the results. I know that went on. So the Virtual Endurance Championship, I think Mitchie streamed that race at our on the crew channel on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, that is going to do it for today's show. Sorry to throw the awkward last minute stuff at you. I do try to get everything in advance, but that always makes it a little tricky. But I do want to bring you the best sim racing news each and every day. But that is going to do it for this one. Tune in Wednesday where I have another one. I have a few different reviews in the works. We're going to once again try to crank things up. And one more piece of last minute news, apparently. What's this one? This was sent in by Brandon. And let's see what Brandon says has to go on today's show before I get away. Chair troubles. Oh, so here's the Frex chair in action. Michael Clark coming in again. There is the Frex chair in action. Just so you can know how that might work out. Yeah, you might want that thing strapped down to your rig. Thank you for that, Brandon. Perfect timing. Definitely kind of what I had in mind. That's not going to work for sim racing so well, but they are known for their sim racing equipment. So anyway, that is going to do it for this one. Perfect way to finish today's show with a smile. Come back Wednesday. Be sure to subscribe, tell a friend, thumbs up this channel. Do everything you can do to help us grow so we can keep bringing you the best sim racing news on planet Earth. But that's going to do it for this one. This is the Simpit. I'm Shaun Cole, and I'll see you on the track.